it's Trisha. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be bringing you my anticipated releases for spring of 2018. So I have 6 books that are releasing during the months of March, April, and May that I am really excited about, things that I am hopefully going to be able to get to sometime in the near future, but these are ones that I have found floating across YouTube or on Goodreads that I think sounds super interesting and I'm interested to maybe read or find out more about in the future. These ones I am going to talk about in the order in which they release. So the first book on my list is The Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and this one is going to release on March 6th, so it may have already released by the time this video goes out. So The Children of Blood and Bone is a West African inspired story. It is about a land where the people there had been stripped of their magic by the king and the gods, and their main character goes on a journey to try to bring magic back to her people and to the land, but she's going up against a prince who wants to eradicate magic for good. I have heard that there is a unique magic system in this one, and I am very much excited for this one because of the wonderful things that I've heard all over BookTube about this one. So this one is one that I really do want to get to not too long after its release. The next book on my list is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This one is going to be releasing on March 6th. This one is about a princess siren, and she is being punished for some sort of crime that she has committed, and these sirens in their world go after royalty, and I'm assuming kind of like in siren myth, they lure men to their deaths, and so she is sentenced to become a human, and then she has a certain time limit to bring the prince of the nearby land, bring his heart to the sea queen. So this one is one where I have never really read any mermaid type retellings or anything, but Hannah from the Rainy Reader has been talking about this one, and so she kind of popped it up on my radar, and I'm really excited to read this one because it's not a traditional mermaid retelling, but it's a retelling featuring sirens. Also on March 6th is a middle grade book that I stumbled across, which looks so sweet. It's called The Science of Breakable Things by TellHerAStory. So this one seems like a really sweet story. It seems like it is a magical realism, potentially based off of what I've read in the synopsis, but it is about a young girl who her mother is suffering from a severe depression, and she is going to enter into a science fair competition. And with the prize money, she wants to be able to take her mother to see these magical flowers that survive against unimaginable odds, and hopefully will inspire her mother to live again. So I'm little vague on what this one is about, but it seemed really sweet and magical realism potentially for a middle grade, which is something that I have never read before. So I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. Next on March 20th is the release of The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. This seems to be a mystery book that spans across 2 different time periods. It is about a boarding school in Vermont. It takes place originally in the 1950s, when this is a boarding school where they send girls that nobody wants, kind of like illegitimate daughters, troublemakers, things like that, where the girls are no longer welcome in their family. They send them to this school, and there is a rumor that the boarding school is haunted. And then it jumps to 2014, where a journalist, her older sister had been murdered 20 years prior, and her remains had been found at this boarding school after it had been closed down. And now in 2014, the boarding school is being reopened, so this journalist decides to go and write a story about it, and she uncovers some secrets that lead her to believe that there was more to her sister's death than was originally found out. So I don't read a whole lot of mysteries, but this one sounded really interesting with the boarding school type aspect and how it jumps potentially jumps from time period to time period. And so I'm really excited to see this one as well. Next on my list for books that I am looking forward to in the spring is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. This is going to release on April 10th. So this one is about a young girl, Anae, and her mother disappears on her, and there seems to be some sort of city that's nearby that is known for like gamblers and everything. It's called the City of Sin. And so she goes there to try to figure out what happened to her mother and ends up teaming up with Levi, who is a street lord and a con man, and she tries to get him to help her find out what happened to her mother. And while they're in the city, she ends up having to play a game of some sorts and dive into the underbelly of the city to find out what happened to her mother. It kind of reminds me almost a little bit of what Caraval by Stephanie Garber was about, so I kind of enjoyed that one a lot, actually. So I'm excited to see how this one goes, especially with the con man sort of aspect with Levi's character. And my last book on the list is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. This one is going to be releasing on April 24th. Leah on the Offbeat focuses on Leah, who is a character from Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. It's one of Simon's best friends, and so we are getting not necessarily a sequel, but kind of a spin-off sequel where it's taking place after Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, but it is focusing on Leah as the main character. Leah, we find out, is actually bisexual. She has not come out of the closet to her friends even since Simon has come out himself. So I am really excited to read more about her, because Leah was not necessarily one of the characters that I really enjoyed from Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, but I understood where she was coming from, and I understood her, the way that she was written. And so while I did not necessarily enjoy her as a person, I got her. And so I'm excited to see how that is going to translate and how I'm going to be able to connect with her in a book that focuses solely on her. So I'm not going to talk too much about that one because I want to go a little bit blind into that one as well. Actually, a lot of the books on my list, I did a brief skim of what the synopsis was, because for a lot of books, I prefer to go into them mostly blind and not knowing anything about them, or knowing very, very little about them, little concept of what basically the story is about. Because I feel like if I know less about it, it won't affect my enjoyment of it, because I won't have any preconceived notions of what I think the book is supposed to be about, or something that it's supposed to go a certain way. So I know some of these synopses were a little vague in what I gave you guys, so I'll link all of the Goodreads pages down below so you can check them out for yourself. So these are all the 6 of the books that I'm really excited to see coming out in the next 3 months. Let me know in the comments down below, do any of these sound like something that you'd like to read? And if you have not already done so, now is the perfect time to click that little subscribe button down below so you can see more content from me in the future. And if you are interested in finding me elsewhere on the interwebs, I have all of my social media links in the description box down below. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!